Now we have Oji, the Empress of Umukwata here. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.
Good morning.
Don't hit the table for her.
Good morning, you're doing well. Good morning, Aya. Good morning, our favorite Nigerian wife.
Jindix, how are you?
I'm doing
Rufa has restrained me from giving you a drumming welcome.
No, really, why?
No, okay, I can lose decorum.
No.
Why don't you want her to hit the table?
I'm a cross-river woman. Well, all right.
Let's be professional.
Can we?
Professional.
Today will be excellent if we can. Thank you so much.
Our best behavior.
Amen. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning,
Fantastic. Well, all right. Okay. We have too much fun here. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending with an update to the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest on Monday, where despite court orders, protesters led by activist Omoyele Sowore trooped out to demand the release of the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. Well, on Tuesday, a magistrate court ordered the remand of Aloy Ejimakor, one of the lawyers representing Nnamdi Kanu, in Kuje prison. The police arrested Ejimakor after he joined protesters demanding Kanu's release and charged him alongside 12 others with various offences, including criminal conspiracy, disobedience of a lawful order, inciting disturbance, and disturbance of public peace, contravening sections 152, 114, and 113 of the Penal Code law. This development has escalated the controversy surrounding the protest, while legal observers note that while lawyers have the constitutional right to peaceful assembly, their arrest during the protest they participated in adds another layer of complexity to an already contentious case involving freedom of expression, the right to protest, and due process. Well, activist Omoyele Sowore, in response to this detention, actually put out a post on X, and he wrote, "It is unfortunate that the Nigerian Bar Association has remained quiet regarding the unwarranted and unjust detention of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, Aloy Ejimakor and Barrister Okereke Kingdom Nnamdi. President Afam Osigwe, what is going on? Hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu now." In the meantime, the Center Against Injustice and Domestic Violence has called on the Nigerian Bar Association to take immediate disciplinary action against Aloy Ejimakor for alleged professional misconduct. In a statement, the group condemned the lawyer's appearance at the protest ground, describing it as a clear breach of professional ethics and a violation of Rule 33 of the Rules of Professional Conduct for Legal Practitioners 2023, which deals with sub-judice statements. And according to the rule, and I'll read this statement in part, it says, a lawyer or law firm engaged in or associated with prosecution or defense of a criminal matter shall not, while litigation is pending, make or participate in making any extrajudicial statement that is calculated to prejudice or interfere with the fair trial of the matter, adding that the law expects that lawyers argue their cases in court, not on the streets, in protest grounds, or on media platforms. I mean, Vimba, I'm coming to you. Mr. Ejimakor's participation in this protest is, they say, is tantamount to trying to sway public opinion and, by extension, the court's view on the matter still under education. I mean, your thoughts on, some of all of these things that I've unpacked before, we discuss on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu as well, because I believe that he has also filed.
Yes, very complex issues. And I think in this instance, I always like to say two things can be true at the same time. The first issue is dealing with the incarceration of the lawyer and the other group of activists. Now, when you look at that FIR report and the issues that they are being indicted for, there are a number of concerns. The number one concern being people are saying that, but this group also included Sowore himself, but Sowore is a free man, and the other 13, I believe, are in prison. So why is there separation between those who have been arrested? If they were all together in a group and alleged to have all committed the same offense, why is there this selectivity? So that means that clearly the playing field is not level. The rules are not applying equally, and many people are even challenging and contesting those rules to say, well, is this really what transpired? Were they really causing public disruption with their protest? Besides the fact that they did stay within the limits prescribed to them, when they tried to go beyond those limits, the police acted, and they were peaceful in their execution. However, another issue that I brought up earlier that I'll bring up is this issue of chanting war songs. And I think we have to be careful now with where we're going. I drew parallels with the case of Julius Malema in South Africa, who was taken to court over chanting a war song. If you remember, he has a song called Kill the Boer. And he says that it's not an insightful song because it's a remnant of their liberation past. So we now need to start having a conversation in Nigeria about whether chanting of war songs that are remnants of a struggle of the past do constitute a public disruption in some form or the other. In South Africa, it was ruled to have been within the constitutional right of any activist or advocate to chant any war song they want. Now it's set for the Nigerian law to set their own precedent on this issue. Now that's on one aspect. On the aspect of sub judice, the rules are clear. This man was on the streets advocating for and vocalizing for a case that should have been in defense as of that point. Of course, we've seen a number of issues that have come up with regards to delaying going into that defense. But at this time, I think that we need to focus our attention to the defense, because the prosecution have rested their case, and it's now up to Nnamdi Kanu to put forward his own defense. I know there are other developments that you'll come to, but and it's now not only is it up to him to put forward his defense, but it's also up to the public, civil society, to hold the judiciary accountable to ensure that his defense is treated fairly, it's given in a fair environment, and that he has access to all that he needs to be in order for him to provide a thorough and robust defense for himself. I think I hope I've dealt with many of the substantive issues, well, but yeah.
I mean, in terms of Ejimakor being, detained in Kuje and all of that, you would wonder, I mean, he's a lawyer, shouldn't he have known the rules? But I'm sure that there'll be other, lawyers that would actually come and argue his case as well as to whether or not he had the right to protest at the same time. But meanwhile, barely 24 hours after the protest, the detained IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, in a motion he personally filed on Tuesday, October 21st, agreed to enter his defense and informed the Federal High Court of his plan to call a total of 23 witnesses divided into two categories. Well, among those listed as compellable witnesses are former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, former Chief of Army Staff, General Tuko Boratai, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, Works Minister Dave Umahi, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, and Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. The detained IPOB leader told the court he would testify on his own behalf, providing a sworn account of the facts, denying the allegations, and explaining the political context of his statements and actions. He requested a 90-day time frame to conclude his defense, given the number of witnesses. I mean, Rufai, what a dramatic turn of events. Kanu's lawyer has been remanded in Kuje Correctional Center for participating in the protest. The timing and Kanu's decision to personally sign the notice raised questions about his relationship with his legal team and suggest a significant strategic pivot in his defense approach, potentially signaling his readiness to confront, the charges directly after years of legal challenge. People would say, I mean, he had no choice. Right now, his lead counsel is in detention. He has to, I believe he also is a lawyer, he says, Nnamdi Kanu. I've said some places that he said that.
You see, if we want to build a nation, let's build a nation. If we want to be hypocritical, let's be hypocritical. For all of those that are saying Ejimakor has no right of protest, and I'm not a lawyer, so please, you can challenge some of my thoughts, but I'll think freely on this. And they are claiming sub judice. We have all been on this table where many cases that are currently in courts have been come to discuss here. Do you remember? Can we even go back and point out a couple of things? Anyway, we remember the debacle of Natasha, and we remember how people were coming to discuss the case while even the judges said they shouldn't discuss it here. Do we remember? Why didn't the legal disciplinary committee, why were they called in then? Oji, this case has not been, it's been on for a while. You remember that at some point during President Buhari's administration, some Igbo leaders, even when the case was in court, went to prevail over President Buhari for a political solution. Were they sub judice then? I'm talking about those Igbo leaders.
Yeah.
Recently, we've heard that governors like Alex Oti and a couple of other governors, I think Governor of Imo State, have been talking to the president about a case currently in courts. Can we also deem those as sub judice? So please, I don't know anything in law, but I just think out loud. So please, you can educate me. I'm open to education.
We will learn more.
No. So I want to learn.
A huge debate.
No. And that's why I'm asking. Days. And I've cited my position that were these engagements sub judice, the one that the great elder statesman from the South is that even finally passed after that, negotiation with President Buhari at an early, was a former federal minister in the 60s in this country. They went to President Buhari to ask and beg that Nnamdi Kanu should be released political solution. The governors that have been talking to the president as regards that, are these also sub judice? Because when you say, okay, Ejimakor went to protest about a case in court and you say, okay, sub judice, you should know better. Now he's been detained and, he's been taken against his right. We forget he's a citizen first. Well, those other instances where they sub judice. That's just what I want to. And please, let's also put a background on this case. We've also had a court in this country that have said Nnamdi Kanu did no wrong and should be discharged and acquitted, and appeal courts, before this case had been taken to the Supreme Court. So let's also put that in the context of this conversation. All right. Nnamdi Kanu said he wants to go ahead with his defense process. Yes, he has a right, but also it's only incumbent on let's even make a verification if he was the one that listed these people out. And let's make a verification on that process that was said that came from him, and let him go through his defense. A man has a right to be able to defend himself.
Right.
I am not saying that we should not, have a definitive stance on the rule of law in this country. But all I point out every day is the hypocrisy.
The selective application.
I mean, there are people now that we see them carrying guns and everything, bandits, having peace meetings and all that. Nobody have arrested them now. Okay. Their matter is not in court, it's not sub judice now.
All right.
So that one is out there. Then secondly, we have also seen people that were pardoned, bandits, criminals that were pardoned. All we're also saying is the political solution that you feel was good for the bandits that people speak for, give it to this man and charge him that if any other thing is done again, then actions will be meted out. That's all what a lot of people are calling for in this regard.
Yes.
That's just it. So if you call him all sorts of things, you call him a terrorist and everything, but you've done it for some bandits in the past now, why is his own different?
All right.
That's all I'm asking. All right. I'm not saying I support the way he went about it. I'm not saying I support all his abuses.
All right.
You did the same process people are saying do for this man, for other people that we saw. You even rehabilitated them. Like Dr. Bati said, you give them ashwebi and jollof rice and pepper soup. These are people that carry gun. No? I'm not sure Nnamdi Kanu ever. Did you ever say any gun is not going to shoot people? But these were even people that carry gun. No, that kill
criminals.
That criminals that committed heinous crimes. So
all right.
You gave them a waiver and you said they should be good members of society again. All we are just saying is for the sake of balancing and for the sake of let's have fairness.
All right.
Let that same thing be done to Nnamdi Kanu, and let's also charge him that all the insecurity there that people attributed to you, let it stop.
All right.
So that at least when Nnamdi Kanu is out of the picture, anybody that does this thing again, we say, okay, we know this is criminality. That's all I'm arguing.
The names that he mentioned, though, as compellable witnesses, I mean, I wonder how that will play into his, defense and all of that. He's asking for 90 days. I believe the last time there was a ruling by James Judge Omotosho, he had said that Nnamdi Kanu should, conduct his case within 6 days. So I don't know. I mean, he's now asked for 90 days. It seems like another extension. But yesterday was this Free Nnamdi Kanu protest, and There were many dimensions to the protests. We saw a clergyman calling out notable pastors, including Pastor Enoch Adeboye, as well as Pastor Tunde Bakare, saying that instead of enjoying tithes and offerings, they should be present at the protest. Well, the same priest was seen running and taking cover after police dispensed tear gas. Let's take a look.
As an Episcopal Lord, I was expecting to see my colleagues. I've not seen anyone yet. I've not seen Pastor Adeboye, Enoch. Where is he? I've not seen Pastor Tunde Bakare. Pastor Tunde Bakare, where are you? You came to the streets to dislodge Goodluck Jonathan for his good economic policy, social reform. You people knock him out of Asurok. And today, one man, the country is on that stage. And you people are busy. You are enjoying your tithe and offering your church. Come out and speak for justice. What did God Almighty say? I do not delight in your tithe and offering. I do not delight in your burnt offering. Justice is what I ask you.
They are shooting. They are shooting.
I'm sorry, I have to out you, Rubai. Rubai has been cracking up. Is it your constituents or constituency?
No.
Both of you.
Yes, they are big pastors.
They are big pastors.
So
but you know, he did make a valid point. And I think the reason why he called those people was because they were out during the time of, you know, those protests. And I mean,
I said we should not OG.
I said you shouldn't comment. Okay, 30-second comment.
Thank God you recall that they came out in their youthful days. Has anything changed?
No.
Pastor Adeboye is 83 years old. Pastor Bakari just turned 70. Let the youth go and use their strength to protest because of the altar. Because they've done their own. And I mean, I think that maybe we should call the younger ones to now take on the baton of defending and going out there to protest. You can protest in many ways. You don't have to go on the street.
Yes, it was just that funny part where he was.
No, that was.
He should have stood with his full chest.
I applaud him coming out. I applaud him coming out to express his right as a citizen of Nigeria. It was very good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, all right. Let's now turn to the Nigerian Senate, where a heated clash occurred on Tuesday, October 21st, between Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Senator Oshiomhole, and Senator Natasha Akpoti regarding a controversial abortion clause in the Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025, which aims to strengthen laws against sexual offences, including prescribing life imprisonment for child defilement. The dispute arose shortly after the Senate voted to step down the bill for further deliberation. Senator Akpoti attempted to reopen discussion on a sensitive abortion-related clause, prompting immediate objection from Senator Oshiomhole, who raised the point of order, arguing that it was against parliamentary rules to revisit a matter that had already been concluded by the Senate. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Senate President, please, may I speak? I'm a woman, and abortion has to do with women. It's very important, sir.
Let us go to clause. This has been stepped down in totality. Is it, Senator? This has been stepped down in view of the conviction, but if you have anything to add, you can say.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Natasha Akpoti, Kogi Central. Sir, this borders on abortion. And...
Yes, Senator.
Mr. President, we have been tutored over and over that when a matter has been concluded and you have dropped the gavel, in this particular case, to allow for more conversation, if you grant exemption to distinguish it to Natasha, then you must extend the same extension to us, in which case our rules will become meaningless. I think the rules should be obeyed. We have said more discussion, which allow her to make any input, and I also intend to make more input. I think that is the whole essence of deferring it. To continue the debate, many of us will rather debate it here. So I think my distinguished sisters should agree that these are the rules.
I'm not a spirit to know what the senator wanted to say. The senator said, I want to say something. But if I knew, I would have referred her to Rule 52, sub 6.
All right, that section, Akpoti went on to rule her out of order. But I must say that he did show grace. But, you know, Natasha being a woman, I believe, should have been given the floor to speak. I watched the proceedings and debate, and she appeared to have been calling to speak for minutes before that debate was closed. The bill was subsequently referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Human Rights for further review. However, we're getting reports that women groups are planning to issue a statement to stop the review and demand a public hearing instead, objecting to the passage of the amendment. Now, when you look at some of the sections of the abortion clause in the Criminal Code Act, it appears quite controversial and confusing. I did look at it. For example, let's read that section 4 of the amendment of section 230 on supplying drugs or instrument to procure abortion. Section 230 of the Principal Act reads in part, any person who unlawfully supplies to or procures for any person anything whatever, knowing that it is intended to be unlawfully used to procure the miscarriage of a woman, whether she is or is not with child, is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for 5 years. I mean, this is such a huge debate. This debate highlights, you know, the controversial nature of abortion legislation in Nigeria. Ayo, before I come to you, I'd like to take some reactions on X. But like I read in that section, the idea of miscarriage of a woman, I mean, that's, you know, that also probably was what she was trying to debate. It's not miscarriage of a woman, it's miscarriage of a fetus. There is nobody that willingly wants to miscarry a child. It's an involuntary action, correct? But let me take some reactions on X. This person wrote, Senator Natasha has a valid point. Issues like abortion affect women directly, and her voice deserves to be heard. Silencing her only shows how male-dominated the system still is. Rule of order or not, the Senate should at least listen when a woman speaks on issues like this. Another ex-user wrote, abortion is not the only sensitive thing discussed in the House, but the rule must be followed. There is a channel everyone in the House can make points when a case has been closed. She was not silenced. The House was just reminded of the proper thing to do. Another ex-user wrote, we don't have many women in the National Assembly, and since it's a deliberation on a topic that concerns women, she should have been given the chance to air her views. Rule or no rule. Finally, an ex-user wrote, see men talking about abortion like they get pregnant. That was actually my favorite ex. But this is such a big topic. Yes. Worldwide, in the United States, senators get removed for, you know, some controversial comments about abortion. But like I said in my opening statement, I believe that she should have been given the floor, even if it was for 30 seconds. She, Senate President Godswill Akpabio heard her and was about to give her the floor until Senator Oshiomhole intervene.
Okay, so what I want to interpret from that interaction is that Senator Oshiomhole is a stickler for rules, irrespective of what happens. But there's such a thing as discretion. And I believe that it is in the power of the Senate President to have discretion as to, okay, this matter, even though it's been stepped down, because of the nature of it and the fact that we have only 4 women in the Senate. Senator Natasha Akpoti Udoagan, Senator Ekpalibo Banigo, Senator Idi Atolunronti Adebole, and Senator King Igbe. 4 of them. Out of the 4 of them, 1 woman has consistently had her voice, you know, tried to have a voice in the Senate. I don't know why. I think I don't know where the other 3 senators are. Maybe we should also spotlight the fact that despite the fact that women are disproportionately not represented in the Senate, we don't even hear the voices of those who are represented. I like the fact that you noted that she had raised her hand earlier whilst the debates were still going on, and this is not the first time. We don't want to make it seem as if it's a victimization as a result of what had transpired prior. I don't want to say that that is what is happening. I don't want to believe that is what is happening, because that's a hallowed chambers. I want to imagine that they'll be very professional. Now, on a topic like this that involves women directly, at least one female voice ought to be heard.
I think one person spoke and backed the amendment, saying that it should be increased to 5 years. The felony punishment, or the punishment should be increased to 5 years.
Yeah, but no, in terms of for the abortion conversation and nitty-gritty of it, I believe that what the Senate President did initially by using his discretion to say, okay, you know what, speak up, and then was in order.
I thought
we understand the rules, and people talk about rules and rules, but rules are made for the people and to enable a smooth running of the process. In extenuating circumstances like this, where you feel that the conversation will be made richer or be made robust and it's more inclusive, especially by the primary stakeholders, I thought that at least that discretion ought to have been extended to her. And this is also to make a bigger plea for ensuring that the voice of, this is not Senator Natasha Akpoti anymore. This is Kogi Central speaking. They must recognize that. Because when you silence the voice of one person, you're not just silencing her voice, you're silencing the voice of an entire constituent. You're silencing the voice of an entire demography, which is the women of Nigeria, whom only 4 of them out of 106 of them represent. And so I think in that regard, that ought to have been done. That's what's simple.
In all fairness, quick comment. I commend Senator Akpabio because he exercised that discretion.
He did. He did very well.
It doesn't mean that if he does otherwise, I will not say it. I will say it. But on this, I commend Senator Akpabio. And I don't think Senator Oshiomhole should have just come in there. He just allowed the woman to speak.
That is it. But now the matter has been, pushed to a judicial review. Like I said, some women groups are trying to...
Town hall. Let's have
that's
public,
what they're asking.
That's what
the women
they should have that.
Want a public debate. The matter should not be debated by only men and just 4 women and all of that. There should be a public debate and all of that. But we will follow up on the story. But also kudos to the senators for bringing these sort of sensitive issues to the floor of the House. Meanwhile, in a monumental development aimed at curbing the increase of child sexual abuse across the country, the Senate on Tuesday passed a new bill mandating life imprisonment for any individual, male or female, found guilty of sexually assaulting a minor. The original motion presented by Senator Adams Oshiomhole of Edo North proposed a 20-year sentence, but this was rejected after Senator Mahmood Adamu Aliero of Kebbi Central successfully argued for the shorter life sentence as a necessary deterrent, citing reports of victims as young as 5 years old. If signed into law, this legislation will replace existing provisions in Nigeria's criminal and penal code that currently impose lighter penalties for offenders. I mean, this landmark legislation represents a significant shift in Nigeria's approach to protecting children from sexual predators. Rights groups have long criticized existing provisions in the criminal and penal code for imposing penalties that they argue are disproportionately light, given the lifetime trauma inflicted on victims. I thought that I should highlight this. I know that you guys have discussed it. Like I said, kudos to the Senate. I mean, this is such an important bill. Well, to our next story from Kano State, where a magistrate court has taken the controversial decision to order 2 popular TikTokers, Idris Mai Wushiria and Bashira Yaguda, to forcibly get married within 60 days after viral videos reportedly showed the content creators engaged in romantic displays considered indecent by the state. The order came on Monday from Magistrate Halima Wali, who stipulated that the Kano State Hisba Board and the state's religious police force should facilitate their marriage, and failure to do so will be seen as contempt of court. when I read this story, Rufai, I don't know if I should come to you on this story. When I read this story, I was aghast. I mean, I'd read some reactions so that you can discuss this. This decision from the court has triggered mixed reactions online, with some people welcoming the court's decision to maintain moral corrective measures in line with the state's already established Islamic values, while others say it represents an overreach from authorities against freedom of expression. Let me take this post on X. This person wrote, "This has to be one of the most absurd rulings I've seen. So now the Kano court and Hisba are in the business of matchmaking? Let's be clear. This isn't about love or consent. 2 TikTok creators shared videos, and the court decided the solution is to force them to marry within 60 days. We have to ask, when did personal freedom and freedom of expression become a crime? What happens if either of them does not agree? This ruling raises serious concerns about the line between enforcing moral codes and violating basic human rights." Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bar Association has condemned the ruling. NBA President Afam Osigwe described the court's directive as unconstitutional, maintaining that marriage is a voluntary union that cannot be imposed by the state, describing the decision as an affront to fundamental rights and a grave misunderstanding of judicial authority. And I'll read NBA's statement in part. They wrote, "No court has the power to compel any person to marry another person or 2 persons to mandatorily marry. Marriage, by its very nature, is a voluntary union between consenting adults. It cannot, under any circumstances, be imposed as a form of punishment, moral correction, or judicial remedy." The NBA called for immediate review of the decision and urged judicial authorities to prevent reoccurrence, warning that such actions undermine public confidence in the judiciary. This case raises critical questions, Rufai, about the intersection of religious law, state authority, and constitutional rights in Nigeria's diverse landscape. Your thoughts?
See, when we started fiddling with this idea of, religious law many years ago, I think the incumbent then was told that it will have repercussions and far-reaching repercussions, and I'm sure he's beginning to see that now. So with this court that has been coerced because TikTok content producers produced content, so that means for good measure, if I probably produce a content, it's a content, I must say, that that Vimbai and that me and who I should say now.
Adefemi.
No, anybody.
Why not Vimbai? I don't understand.
No.
Did you move away? Did I hear you just move away?
No.
He doesn't want to use anybody on the table.
I don't want to use anybody on the table.
For our viewers,
so that me and somebody, for instance, gets married. So what if in a film, a movie, that me and somebody got married? Would they compel me that because I married somebody in the movie,
you must get married,
that I must marry the person in real life? You're laughing.
I don't understand.
But that's what a court.
Right, Nigeria.
See, that's what a court in Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria.
And you see, when we talk about the judiciary, and people say, "Oh, why are we talking?" And everything. So it speaks volumes about the judiciary as we speak. So I'm sure the way I said it now, it looked like a joke to everybody. This is the joke Nigeria has become. Because people want to, maintain a pristine moral outlook. When people do content to be able to make a means of living, the reason why the content creators is doing content is because you, the government, largely, you fail them. They don't have a means of living. They can't steal. So they are making a content like this. Then the next thing, you are not saying because of their livelihood, because you want to maintain a moral platform or outlook, that they must get married. You can see how funny it sounds. And that's why I'm happy the NBA has told them that this is not right. People have fundamental rights. But you see, I don't think it will stand, Oji, because the Constitution is the grown norm. So whatever they decide, the Constitution supersedes all of that.
Of course.
And there are freedoms in the Constitution.
Well said.
It's shocking.
It is shocking. I mean, they need to reverse this.
That's the joke. The country.
It is unacceptable.
So just very quickly, in light of what we've been speaking about recently around domestic violence and spouses killing each other, these are people that voluntarily got married, and we're talking about how we should, the sanctity of marriage. When you force people who may not like each other, who may be at each other's throats, it doesn't all go well for that. So if we're speaking about trying to reduce the incidence of, femicide, spouses killing each other, if they come together and they fight every day, who would we blame for that? So we need to be, even on the moral side of things, it doesn't, I mean, with all due respect to the courts, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, well said, well said. Let's now take this troubling video, which has gone viral on social media, showing a young woman identified as Aisha Wahab pleading for the public to help her raise 20 million naira in ransom after being kidnapped from Igbara camp in Auchi on October 11th. In the distressing footage, Wahab is seen with a rifle pointed at her head as she tearfully begs for her release, stating that her captors threatened to kill her by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, that was yesterday, if the money was not paid. Let's take a look.
Help me. They won't give me a beg. Mona say money come. I beg. Mona beg. I beg. Mona help me. My people, I beg. Mona help me. I beg. Time they go.
That's stupid.
My people, I beg. Mona quick.
We can need to kill.
Now 5 o'clock.
Before I come.
Yes, they don't kill me. Now they don't kill me. 5 o'clock.
They can't like that.
All right, we've been trying to reach out to the police PRO in Edo State. I was able to reach out to the Commissioner for Information, Kazim Afegbua of Edo State, and he wrote that I found out from relevant security what the update was. The problem was, first of all, finding the identity of the girl, which they have been able to establish. Secondly, they are working through synergy by the 3 security agencies, police, DSS, and Edo Security Corps, and they have made useful link, but won't be able to advise any other on that. That's the main question.
I think that's the most important thing Kazim Afegbua should have said.
That's the main
All
thing.
of this is just rigmarole. Yeah. We're working on this is rigmarole. Is she alive? Can we ascertain? See, this is the genocide that we face as Nigerians. The genocide of kidnapping.
Let Vimbai have the floor. Let Vimbai have the floor on this.
I mean, this is painful to watch. Yes. It's very troubling, and it's, I commend you for taking the story, because it's also difficult to take it, because we ask ourselves, we hope that by adding publicity to it, we're not doing more harm than good. But this is an appeal to the security forces to get in there and do what needs to be done. Edo used to have an Edo security network. I believe something happened when there was a transition to the current government. I'm not sure whether they've restored it and reinforced it. But, I like to always use the example of a good thing, because some people might think it's not possible. But I will always reiterate the positive developments in security that are happening in Enugu State. Because the moment you enter the state, there's facial recognition. They register you. They upload you into the database. Those cameras go into the forest as well. They zoomed in for us. And you can see the detail around it, even in the forested areas. Any vehicle that enters into the state immediately gets captured and uploaded. I say this because this is a model that needs to be followed around Nigeria, because this is the type of distress signal. If we have those AI cameras, and yes, I know many people might be a little bit reluctant and say that, can we do it? But it's being done in one of the states. If that model existed, then a distress call would have been sent out almost immediately to be able to locate, and we would even be able to watch in real time what's happening in that forest. That's what I was able to see, to experience firsthand in Enugu State. So this is just a reminder, another call to our governors, that the governors are not helpless in security issues. There are things that are within their control, and they need to take charge of those issues, because these types of instances, and then to the federal level, we have NIN, we have so many ways to track devices. This is something that was uploaded onto the internet. Are you telling me that we can't track where this upload came from and, zone in to rescue this woman? This is all English. At the end of the day, this woman must come home. She must come home alive. No ransom should be paid, and the perpetrators of this crime must be arrested. We want to see them prosecuted. We want to see them languishing in the prisons. The way it's not protesters we want to see in prison. These are the people we want to see in prison.
These are the issues really at this moment. At the end of the day, I hope that this woman is found and she's healthy. I want to make sure that I will follow follow up on the story, and I will do that. I hope that, Nigeria will not happen to her. Aisha must be found safe. Justice for Aisha. Now, under Milestone, we celebrate His Royal Majesty, the Oba of Benin, Eware II, as he marks his 72nd birthday and 9th coronation anniversary on the throne of the ancient Benin Kingdom. The dual celebration has attracted tributes from prominent Nigerians, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, recognizing the monarch's remarkable reign and contributions to cultural preservation. Well, born on October 20th, 1953, Oba Eware II was crowned the Oba of Benin on October 20th, 2016. He became the 40th Oba, a title created for the head of state of the Benin Empire. Since ascending the throne 9 years ago, Oba Eware II has brought renewed vigor to the ancient kingdom, ushering in what observers describe as a renaissance of Benin arts and culture. His reign has been characterized by peace, cultural advocacy, and diplomatic engagement that has elevated the profile of traditional institutions across Nigeria. In his tribute, Atiku Abubakar praised the monarch's leadership, stating that his remarkable life and reign on the throne has brought peace to the ancient kingdom of Benin, as well as heralded a renaissance of the arts and culture, of which he remains the foremost custodian. His educational background, including degrees from universities in Wales and London, combined with deep respect for ancestral custom, has enabled the Oba navigate contemporary challenges while preserving the essence of Benin monarchy.
Ukwu akpọlọkpọlọ obi Uzodinma n'ọbanue n'anyụ tete n'obuge sọma n'ọnya kitikoyi ọba na nyoboda ọba na bede weye okian uge gbamia imi ọba no sagwe apamuna ọ̀pọ̀ wunu n'ekpo waro ọba na ye gewe doko olede oli kekeze onyunu anagbon.
Oba Otokpaye, we would like to congratulate him.